So what's happening, social media land groupies? Let's talk about the fact that everybody's being played by the mainstream media. Everybody's getting fed into all the same old bullshit, the same old narrative. You ever seen them little figures like the monkeys that's got their eyes covered, ears covered, mouth covered? Hear no evil, say no evil, see no evil. That whole concept. Well, I got a news flash for you. This entire election, the entire Democratic side of the election, has been successful because of one thing, and one thing only. That's because they have mentally and emotionally manipulated everybody out here. In order for you to understand what they want you to say, they use that hear no evil, say no evil, see no evil bullshit. And what they do is they reverse that same logic. If they blindfold you to all the real stuff, the reality of things, and they plug your ears from hearing any truth, that's why they silence all the patriots out here. They shut us all down, shut us all up. They don't run with any other narrative except for the attacks on the right. And then they want to over-glorify the left like, hey, you're seeing this. Because seeing and hearing is believing. And I'm a firm believer and believe half of what you see, half of what you hear, you know what I mean, and all that good stuff. But seeing is believing, and that whole concept, they take a narrative. They can take a 2 or 3 hour long interview. They can cut up that 2 or 3 hour long interview and they can put it into 2 minutes. They can run with that same 2 minute narrative over and over and over and over again. They keep saying the same shit over and over again. If you notice, when they do say it from 1 minute to the next, one show to the next, they turn around and they word it differently. They're saying virtually the same exact thing, but in a different form. Then they bring in different people. They call them professors. They call them experts. They call them witnesses on the streets. And some of the time, it's just people that work for the studios that's the witnesses on the streets. Or they go out here in the parking lots at their own damn facilities, their own damn company, and say that they're somewhere that they're really not. They got two different people in the same parking lot, and that's been proven time and time again. And they're saying, oh yeah, we're here, we're doing this, we're la-da-da-da-da, and they're running their whole narrative, and they're feeding everybody a bunch of bullshit. They're essentially putting sugar on shit and feeding it to everybody. And they're giving you a visual. Whenever they're doing this on the news, they're giving you a visual, so you're seeing it. And then what they're telling you, you're hearing it, and you believe it. You see, you hear, you believe. And then comes in the say no evil, because you're telling everybody, have you seen this? Have you seen what's going on? And then you start repeating what's been said. You start repeating the opinion. And you don't know no facts on it, because it's like a first impression. Whenever you hear something during the election, they attacked Trump from the get-go. They hit hard, they hit first, and that's what gave them a good edge, because they're like, Trump's racist, Trump's a bigot, Trump's this, Trump's that, Trump's the other. And all they needed is one or two things to put out of context and to chop up for everybody to look at to prove what they're saying might be right. And then people believed it because it was the first impression when they first heard it. And whenever that happened, it left that first impression on people. Just like if you was to walk in today and you see some girl getting gangbanged by 15 guys shooting up heroin, then 6 months later you see her in a daycare, your kid's daycare teacher, your kid's school teacher. It's going to screw you up mentally, because you know, oh shit, that person was doing this, that, or the other, you know what I mean? It ruins everything. That first impression of what you think ruins everything from that point forward. You can't think right. And they trigger people. They use emotional responses. They manipulate people. If they make you think he's attacking black people, it's emotional, because you feel frustrated for your black community. You feel angry over the racism. You want to stand up for it. And when you react emotionally, then that's all you think about. You don't think logically, you think emotionally. If you see somebody beating a woman and you don't like that shit, and you see that person, it makes you angry. It makes you want to beat the hell out of them every time you see somebody like that, or see somebody that acts in that certain way. You know what I mean? It gives you an emotional reaction. And then all you got to do is hear that somebody's beating their old lady. May or may not be true, and then you look at that person like you're wanting to tear their fucking head off because of what type of person they are. It's mental, emotional manipulation. They are psychologically distorting anything they want to distort, and they're feeding it to people. They're sprinkling the sugar on the shit, and they're giving it to people and telling you that it's a nice little cupcake. And whenever it comes to that, people are in denial. After they have ate shit for so long and believed shit for so long, It's like a drug addict. Drug addicts don't want to admit that they got a problem. They don't want to take that first crucial step. They will justify that they need those drugs any way they can. Oh, I have to have those drugs. My back hurts. I need those drugs. My doctor gave me those drugs. Blah, blah, blah. And they'll come up with 10,000 things to say to justify it in order to deny that they got a problem. Everybody that has listened to the mainstream media and all the bullshit that's been going on, they look at it, they see it, they hear it, they believe it, they've been fooled. They do not want to have to say, I was wrong. I have a problem. I believe this bullshit. Instead, they want to justify it. They want to justify it and say, oh, well, I believe this for this reason, and here's why, and blah, blah, blah. And half the time, that's why people look at these liberals, and they look at people, and you're arguing with them, and they're all saying the same shit. Oh, he's racist. He's homophobic. He's thisophobic. He's thatophobic. And it's all because, why, he's sexist? Because we voted for a man instead of a woman? Well, it's sexist because you voted for a woman instead of a man. They don't get that. Because the narrative, that first impression, the hearing and seeing and believing part, they seen it. And they're like, oh, well, he has to be sexist because that's what was said. And it stimulates your mental capacity here. It reacts with you emotionally afterwards. Because if you're the type of person that's like, I don't like people who are sexist, I don't like misogynists, then it stimulates an emotional reaction from you. And then from that point forward, you're always defensive. Nobody wants to go out here and look at the truth. And the mainstream media has that edge because they've lied to people. They falsified the polls. They overglorified Clinton. They didn't show all the truth about her. And they hammered Trump from the get-go and always have. They do that to maintain their narrative, to continue to manipulate people and how they think and how they react to things. That's exactly what they are doing. It is a dangerous game of mental and emotional manipulation among the American people. Nobody wants to sit there and admit, oh man, I've been eating shit this whole time and it's just got sugar sprinkled on it. No, they'll keep eating that shit because they don't want to have to admit that they've been eating shit. So they'll continue defending that it was a muffin with sugar on top. They don't care because they are in denial. They are incapable of getting past that point because of the type of things they have accused the right of doing and Trump of doing. They can't go out here and research themselves. They don't want to bring themselves to understand things. They want to keep everybody in America divided. If it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. The Democratic strategy here is, I'll break it and then I'll campaign to fix it. That's like a local plumber in your area going by people's houses, poking holes in your water lines, busting your fucking water heaters. And then they're going around conveniently the next week saying, I'm the best plumber in the neighborhood with the best prices. I'll do it cheaper than anybody. Lifetime guarantee. Of course they will. They're the motherfuckers who broke it, and then they're advertising to you how they're going to fix it. That's the Democrats. They divide this country. They know how they divided this country, and then they come right back around, and they advertise to everybody how they're going to fix the shit. And then, as soon as they're in office, the mainstream media gets on board and they tell everybody that everything's going good. And you're looking in your communities and you're like, no, it's not. But if you feel like it's going good in your head, it's like having confidence. I know I can do this. I know I can do that. You believe it, whether it's actually happening or not. You have that confidence that, well, things might be looking better. It makes you have that optimistic mindset about you, to where you start looking at things in a positive manner. It is mental manipulation. You look at the cold hard reality of it though, and ain't a damn thing got improved at all. You just look at it and you think it is because Obama was president. Rates are higher, insurance is higher, the whole economy's divided, America's divided, the people's divided, we're all fighting, we're all haggling, and it's all because of that bullshit. And the ones in control of the media and control the politicians are the people who's got the most money to gain and the most to lose. And they want globalism because as soon as they can make everybody you'll be slaves to the government if we ever have a global government. That's just facts. They want to enslave people, make you work, make you be taxed and everything. And eventually it'll happen if we keep going down this route. Socialism is like the plague. Liberalism is a poison. It is a cancer that is killing America. And the mainstream media is one of the biggest puppet masters of the whole deal. And people are pulling their strings, and then they're pulling your ass. Basically, the big corporations have got their hand up corporate media's ass, moving their mouthpieces around just like they're a bunch of puppets and they're ventriloquists. They're saying what they're told to say. And nobody's seeing the puppet master behind the back because he's got their hand stuck up her ass. But then, the little puppet, the puppet's got strings on it. And those strings are the people that believe the bullshit. Just think about that. I'm back with Chippy Steve Crow. Let your freedom ring, America.